However, one of the problems now facing this village is that many of its members, who were exposed to arsenic in the 10 to 15 years before a safe tube well had been installed, are now beginning to show symptoms of arsenic poisoning.
Actually, his complaint is tremendous itching. You know, sometimes it itches like anything, and it burns also. A feeling of burning sensation, and overall a discomfort, a body discomfort, because skin is such an organ that it is always with the environment. It is in contact with the environment. When they have got these symptoms, there are problems with burning, itching that increases, sweatings that increases. So at this moment he has got that. But anyway, these poor people, you know, at this level of socioeconomic conditions, there were so many other diseases too. So sometimes for them it is very difficult to differentiate with the arsenicosis problem and the other problem. And that is the point where we have to look at the patients and isolate the symptoms of arsenicosis and others. So in any way, when you treat this arsenicosis patient, we have to look after the other problems they have. It is scattered. Actually, still, if you say the treatment of this arsenicosis condition, there is no definite treatment of that. But what we found with last, all the studies and experiments, that few vitamins works fine to detoxicate the arsenic from the blood or from the organs of the body. One is ascorbic acid, there's a vitamin C, there's the folic acids, and vitamin E and vitamin A. So we start this, treating them with these vitamins, but side by side, we always ask them to have more vegetables. And you know, just by telling vegetables, if you advise them, you take more and more vegetables. And sometimes it looks like that advising these sort of words to a very, very poor person who cannot even buy the vegetables. So sometimes it becomes zero when you ask them to take more and more vitamins. Anyway, we do it. কত বছর যাবত আপনি ওই টিউবওয়েলের পানি খেতেন? And what we're now doing, that we have registered all these patients and going for biological test, like from hairs or nails, so that we can find out the stages where they are. And if there is any organic affections, so a next stage will be to treat the patient to detoxicate the arsenic from the organs. কতদিন থেকে খাচ্ছেন না এটা? খাই না পড়ায় বছর থেকে আগে অনেক খাইছি। She's withdrawn taking this contaminated water for 1.5 years, and she said that for last 1.5 years the spots, the skin lesions are a bit improved. Might be that she has stopped taking the water for 1.5 years. And moreover, now I'm just looking externally, because in this situation you cannot see, you cannot examine the whole body. But they have got those lesions in their body also. But we cannot show it here. Right. Look at it.
One of the first steps in these villages is to talk about the arsenic and to discuss the problems related to arsenic in order to motivate the people to work together to do something about it and to organize a committee and all these things. But one of the first obstacles that you cross is that people are not aware of the arsenic, of what it is and what the effects can be, especially in villages where you don't see the external symptoms. So there might be a lot of internal problems, but where the villagers cannot see any external skin problems because of the arsenic, the first step is already quite difficult.
Providing educational support at the Kumabog village has been crucial to addressing the arsenic problem here. Many of its members are illiterate, and therefore information about arsenic contamination needs to be communicated through practical examples. This education program also focuses on the women of the community, who are responsible for providing water and food for their families. One important initiative has been the establishment of an office in the village, where information on the arsenic problem is explained to village women in graphic and effective terms.
তারপরে আর্সেনিক যুক্ত পানি খেলে কি হয় এই যে হাতে পায়ে এরকম গোটা গোটা সৃষ্টি হয়
So what we do when our staff goes every day in the village talking about the arsenic, its contamination and its consequences, so they get aware. On the other hand, the people themselves also come to this center from there around the village. So it is not only a project office, it's also a center of information. The people do come over here to know about it, what is our project, what is our activities. So one of the objectives is to mainstreaming the arsenic issue with other programs. So we talk with the other NGOs and we give the message that please, when you go to talk about other things, please give some messages about the arsenic.
The government has taken a few initiatives as well to try to install some safe water options in the villages, but usually it goes through all the processes of the administration, local administration, down to the local government. And the result is that those deep tube wells, for example, that the government installs, they end up in the hands of the family or the brother or the uncle of the local union chairman, with the intention that it should be shared, but in the end it doesn't happen. There are so many examples of this happening. Not only government programs, but let's say most of the top-down initiatives, the technologies that they install end up in the wrong hands and not as a benefit for the whole community.
Great. A good example of the failure of past international efforts to address the arsenic problem can be seen at the nearby village of Bashar, where UNICEF funded the building of these rainwater tanks and a number of dug wells.
The problem with this dug well is that people are not using it, they're not maintaining it, and our staff did a short study here to look at why those installations have failed and how and why people are not using them anymore. There's no maintenance of the wells, and some of the other installations like the rainwater tank, those provide water for a few months during the rainy season, and that water is just enough for maybe 1 or 2 families to take during the rainy season, which doesn't make it a very suitable option for a community to use as a whole. So in that sense it doesn't work, and some of the rainwater harvesting tanks also need some kind of special maintenance to keep them clean, and people are not willing to do that either. So there's several factors why these solutions in this village haven't worked at all, and have actually also sometimes frustrated the process because they end up being installed at some of the more influential villagers, which in the beginning of the process they say sure, we will share this installation with the community, and after a while, maybe after realizing the implications of that all the villagers will come to their place to get water, and realizing that there isn't enough water, they stop sharing that installation with other people. UNICEF themselves now have entered a new phase in their program, and they're going to stop installing rainwater tanks for all those reasons of maintenance and different reasons.